Well, hello everyone. I've got several different cameras recording for YouTube. I have a Facebook Live running right now. I have a second video running to go on my other Facebook account that I have, and I'm recording another version just for learning purposes. I'm going to adjust the camera here to make it a little better. So, first of all, I'm putting this video together today. Well, before I get there, I suppose I should introduce myself. My name is Kevin Rissmiller. And if I'm looking around back and forth, it's because I'm trying to give some eye contact to each of the cameras recording right now. And as you can hear, some of them are a little noisier than others. And I'm Kevin Rissmiller. I'm the author of two books currently available exclusively on Amazon worldwide. The first one, my bestseller, is called Pilot Prison, which is a book about the first prison run entirely by an artificial intelligence software named Pilot, and the software's named Pilot, and uses avatars, androids, robots, and holograms to control and take care of the inmates. The avatars assigned to each inmate are usually based on their crime and most often their victims. And, well, there's some interesting storylines in it, but this is not about this book today. I'm making other videos. I'll continue to make videos to explain and instruct about what's going on, and I'm even started reading the books so people can enjoy instead of an audio book, it's basically a video book, watching me read. Which, if you saw the video I put out yesterday, you will get a kick out of the fact that I didn't think my feet were going to be in the camera shot, and they were. So I cheated. I didn't have shoes or socks on, and a lot of people picked on me for that, and that's okay. But the other book that I'm going to be talking about today, that I also have published exclusively worldwide on Amazon, and I have fans all over the world, so hello to all of you out there, and thank you for your love and support. And of course, the haters, you're also very entertaining. Matter of fact, haters, you don't realize this, but you help people because you create controversy, and when you say bad things about me or whoever you're hating, the people who are fans and defend them, well, they often have something to say about the negative things you're saying to the people that they like and care about. So keep on hating, because it helps to encourage the good people who support people like myself to, well, a good example of that, since I'm holding this in my hand, let me go ahead and plug this. Shameless plugs, forgive me, this is part of the whole idea, is to support what my product is. And this is my other product that I'm going to be talking about today. I Worked for Trump is the title of my book. Available exclusively on Amazon all over the world. And it is, as it's titled, I used to work for Donald Trump years ago. And that was when he and other rich men decided they wanted to compete with the NFL and create a separate football league. Donald had the New Jersey Generals, and I worked there inside Giant Stadium, actually, calling Giant season ticket holders to try to offer them the opportunity to become season ticket holders for Donald's team, the New Jersey Generals. And I know Donald. I met him. I saw him. He people have been saying such stuff about him. Now, I'm just a regular guy compared to these suit and tie types that are on TV news all the time. Donald was tough, no doubt about that. But he's also fair. And he didn't care if you were a woman. He didn't care if you were black, Oriental, or whatever I'm going to go off political correctness if I keep saying titles here. He didn't care who you were as long as you worked and did the job and got the job done. That's all that mattered. He's a businessman, and he was looking to do it as effectively and economically as possible. The thing is, Donald was a good boss. Let me tell you, he is one of the best bosses I've had, because he threw an awesome Super Bowl party. He rented this hotel, I believe it was called the George Washington Hotel. It was up by the George Washington Bridge. And back then, I mean, I'm no young spring chicken here. I'm in my 50s, and This was when I was in my 20s, and he had, which was rare back then, a giant screen TV in this huge room with an open bar, and it was a lot of cool people and famous people and fun stuff. And I met Doug Flutie because he was to be he was Heisman Trophy winner. He wound up playing in the Canadian League because he was the quarterback for the Generals of this team and everything. It was a fun time. It was great. Donald was awesome. I'd love to still be working for him. And I'm going to tell the truth. I wrote this book when I found out Donald was running for president. When I heard him, he came down the escalator and made the announcement, which, by the way, I love, and I've posted for any of you who've seen, and go on my page, you'll find it somewhere, the video compilation about him winning in the beginning where they parody Donald's announcement with the Simpsons version. I thought that was great. But when I saw that, when I found out he was running, that's when I wrote this book. I wrote this book in 22 days, and initially, I admit, it was a cash grab. Because I know if Donald was in my shoes, and I was running for president, and he was in the position I was in at the time, he'd have done the same thing. He's about making money, and that's what this was about initially. And yes, this bought toilet paper and deodorant and put gas in my van and did a lot of other things because a lot of people liked the book. And it's still selling today, and one day it'll be a collector's item. I'll be happy to autograph it for those of you who want some. I'm wanting to do tours in convention centers and bookstores, and I've had people contacting me who want that as well. But what I'm saying is that I want to tell you a little bit about this book and a little bit about the craziness that I see going on today, just as a regular person. Because I just got done watching some news about the current announcements with Justice Kennedy retiring and all these investigations and witch hunts and so forth. And to give you a little background, I've had my ups and downs in life just like anyone else. I was briefly homeless. Well, briefly in the context of my entire life, but it seemed like forever during the time. And when you're homeless, you feel invisible. But one of the things I did have was a little radio. And I would listen to radio stations, NPR, Fox, all of them. And that's when I first got introduced to Fox News and from the Fox Radio, Hannity and Limbaugh and all that, although I'd had some exposure previously. But I was skeptical because I was raised in New Jersey in a blue state. And so I had that indoctrination and those thoughts. But once I started listening to Fox, I thought, oh, this is a bunch of BS. And the more I listened to it, and then the thing that Fox was doing that got me was they were backing up what they were saying with actual audio, obviously in a radio broadcast, of what the person or people were saying instead of just telling you what they were saying. And I've noticed that that's a current trend. See, years ago, I used to love CNN, Headline News, Weather Channel. Those three channels were the main channels I would watch. And back then, they would report the news. Right now, I don't know anything about the volcano in Hawaii. I don't know anything about anything in news because these channels have all become so political. And there may have been more of that back then than I realized because I wasn't as politically oriented or interested. And of course, the fact that I know the man who works in the Oval Office because I worked for him, thus the title, I worked for Trump. Again, available exclusively on Amazon. Go on Amazon, type in my first and my last name in the search box. You'll get this and my other book, my science fiction, Pilot Prison. Shameless plugs. Again, I'm going to keep those up, so deal with it. That's part of why I'm here. It's because I want you to buy my books and read them and give me your opinions because I'm working on other books and I'll cover videos on those as well. But I am just so amazed at how biased things have become. Back when I used to watch CNN Headline News, you had Ted Turner owned it, he was married to Hanoi Jane, and things were different back then, but there was still news. Headline News was great because every 30 minutes it was like a news broadcast, so whatever your shift was on or whatever your work was, you could always come home and see a basic news broadcast. CNN would highlight things in more detail, and it was about news, it wasn't politics shoved up your nose all day long. Which is what it seems to have become. I know it's got new owners and things have changed, but I'd never seen anything like Fox News because they were smart. And Fox was that way even when they first became a major broadcast network because back then you had CBS, NBC, ABC, PBS, and pretty much that was it. But I didn't realize the bias because you become immune to it, or you start to just take it for granted. But what I learned was, first when I was listening to those radio broadcasts, it caught my interest, and I have a genius IQ. I have an analytical mind. I have to understand things in detail. And so I was listening to these broadcasts, and I was hearing these things being said, and then they would back them up. They would say, this is who said what, and they'd play the audio file. So then I started watching, when I got access to television again, I started watching Fox News, and CNN, and MSNBC, and ABC, NBC, CBS, the whole 9 yards. And I'm very hard to convince of things. Yes, there was the bias, if you want to call it that, or advantage. I wasn't colluding. But the bias advantage I had was that I was somebody who had worked for Donald, so I knew the guy. But what surprised me is how obvious their bias has been and is. That I see things presented on Fox, where they actually, Hannity's really good at this, if you've ever spent any time. He backs everything up with video. He shows you, this is what they said, this is what they did, this was the full context. He'll spend the time to give you the whole thing so you can judge for yourself. And I'm very skeptical on these kinds of things. So I went and I would look at CNN and MSNBC and these other channels, and they would obviously cut things off, or instead of showing you what was actually said, tell you their version of it, their twist of it, their, well, this is what such and such said, instead of just playing it for you and letting you decide. Or they would play a truncated version that only made it sound a certain way. When did cable news network become a biased propaganda machine, is what started to dawn on me. So the reason I speak of that, again, because my book, I Work for Trump, is not just about having worked for Donald Trump. I reference back to that, and I reference back to things he had said during the campaign. And again, I was so shocked that he ran, but at the same time I shouldn't have been, because I've learned since he had political aspirations. I posted a video not too long ago of Tim Russert and him having a conversation about North Korea, and it's shocking how much what he said when he was younger is identical to what he said now and what he's done, and what he was advising presidents then to do, or those in positions of power to do, and he's the only one who stepped up. And I think it's awesome as a president the way he has been, as the term has been put, traveling at the speed of Trump, because he has been killing it, trying to get things done and keeping to all the promises. I know people on the other side are going to have things to say against it, and I please understand, I come from a blue state. I understand both sides and both perspectives. And their messaging is way off point. A lot of the things Fox is saying about him is true. I'm not saying 100%. Don't misunderstand. I'm not, you know, zombified into, I just want Trump, I just want Trump. I'm just looking at the facts and the reality. I mean, when was the last time we heard about beheadings and ISIS and all of these other crazy stuff that we were hearing for so long? That stuff really, that's disturbing, thinking about because you're an American getting your head cut off. I don't care who you are. I haven't heard about that stuff. I mean, not to say that it won't happen or they won't do crazy stuff or whoever's left, because there's always the haters. Right here, right now, there's going to be people who are going to hate what I say, and I'm assuming there's going to be the other side of people who love what I say. Such as there's balance in the Force if you're a Star Wars fan. And I've been reluctant to do these videos because I know that, especially with people like Maxine Waters and others, threatening against people for their political opinions. In America? In the United States of America? Really? I mean, I know it started off that way with the Tea Party and the Revolutionary War and all, but we're all supposed to be one country. It's the United States of America, not the divided states of America. And if the guy's doing good for our country, support him. It's a pretty simple prospect because he's helping everybody, not just Republicans. He's the president of the United States, not just president of the Republicans. Democrats are just worried about power and forwarding an agenda. You guys had your turn for a long time. Okay, give us our turn. When I say that, I mean people who are looking at things differently. I'm not saying that it should be just this way or just that way or destroyed, but I am saying give it a break. The guy's doing a good job. And he's still doing it where he's giving his paycheck to the vets. He's going hard on to try to fix a lot of the problems that have sat there for both Republican and Democratic presidents. And I know the guy. I mean, I'm not one of these political guys who just met him and, oh, he's a nice guy. I've been in his office the other day. No, it's not like he and I are chatting. Although he does blow up my Twitter feed. And I like that. I like the fact that he's talking direct. When was the last time we really had something like that? And he doesn't try to... I was going to do a script for this. But then I said no. I'd rather do it just off the top of my head, straight from the heart, to talk to you, because I've been denying you that. And I'm sorry for that, because I wanted to... I wasn't sure that it was a good thing, or if I made a mistake, or my looks, I need to get my teeth worked on. In that other video, I didn't wear shoes. People are going to hate on everything, and I'm just, right now, and just like my other book, Pilot Prison, this is a great story. This is a story that I've had famous people and others say they want to make this into a movie, and it would make an awesome movie, because I'm tired of seeing the same movie over and over, and sequels of movies that were great, and the sequels sometimes are great and not so great. But this is a good story, but guess what? I suck at editing. You know, the Microsoft with the little squiggly lines under the misspelled words, and it says run-on sentence, and I'm like, well, that's all I ever speak in. Come on, I'm from New Jersey. We love to talk. I get picked on because I talk a lot all the time. Well, this is a great forum then for me to present. And the point being that if the story is solid, that's what's important. Just because my punctuation is not perfect, I need a good editor. But guess what? I'm also a control freak, and I like to have control of everything. And if I got a good editor that would help me, that would be awesome. I'm not plugging for that, but if I get one out of this, yay. But this book, it's an ugly book. The print is a little too small. I don't know how well you can see it. I didn't crop it right, but the words are in there. And this book, I Work for Trump, is not just the sex, drugs, rock and roll, crazy lifestyle of being inside the Trump organization. It's also a biological and political book about my personal beliefs and opinions, things that I've done wrong, things that I've done right, and reflecting upon political views and points of either Donald Trump or just the United States in general. And it's about a real person. So many times we see these unrelatable people who are lofty and high upon their political pedestals or their news pedestals, or they do this for a living. And yes, I'm doing this for a living now. I started my Rissmiller Media because I want to present my media. This is part of the media. But I want it in a grassroots, as they call it. I just want it to be personal. That's why I put this shirt on, which is definitely different from the suit and tie. Well, I didn't have a suit. I had the tie and the dress shirt on yesterday. I want to present to you as me. And as my nervous tendencies are going to drop from getting familiar and comfortable doing these videos, and my sweat is not so obvious, I'm going to talk to you. You are going to be my friends, my confidants, not just my customers and my fans, which I appreciate. I love the customers because you guys help me survive. You help me pay my rent and my electric and buy food, put gas in the van when I want to go somewhere, and I'm grateful for that. But I have a product I sell. And let me tell you a little bit about how I started out writing. People often say, oh, is it in your heart to be a writer? Is that something you've always dreamed to be? Well, maybe a part of me did, but I have a lot of other ambitions and goals and dreams. But to be completely honest, I wanted to own my own business. I wanted to produce a product and be the guy in charge, because I worked for years for other companies and corporations and Fortune 500 companies, making them lots and lots of money. And I got my glass ceiling paycheck. It's not just for ladies, everybody. You can only make so much an hour doing most work, except for sales, of course. And I thought about that. Sales, okay, there's the open-ended window, but I didn't have a product. I couldn't, I looked around my home and I said, well, I could sell everything I own, but then I'd have a big pile of money and no stuff, and that's not a business. So I thought about it. I didn't have the capital, the money, to go pay little Ling Chow, 12-year-old girl, 25 cents a day in China to make my widget. Widget is a variable term, like in algebra, A plus B equals C. A widget is just the term, for those of you who don't know, used to describe any kind of product, whatever the product or service you're selling. So I didn't want this little Chinese girl that I had to pay 12 cents a day or whatever to make a product that was then get put on a truck and put on to the dock at the warehouse, and then from there onto a ship, and then sent over here, and then on another truck to another warehouse, and then I have to go pay some guy to sell this widget, this product. That's a lot of overhead and a lot of money I didn't have to put into it. So I had to come up with something. And this was a hard thing. And it was, even with the smart mind, I was kind of disappointed in myself. It took me 3 days to really beat it down to what I could do. Because here's your question for the day. What is the one thing that I could come up with? There may be others, but the one thing I came up with that you can do, that you can create, that is free. What product can you create that is absolutely free? Now, there's no buying wood or buying metal or hammering things together or plastic or whatever. Anybody? Hello? Hello? Don't hear you. Okay, well, maybe you guys on Facebook Live are probably typing away. How about this? How about that? I'm not looking at that stuff because this is a presentation. What's the one thing? I'll tell you. Words. Words are free. They don't cost anything. If you string them together in the right order, people will pay for them in the form of books, newspapers, magazines, everything else. Now, I'm a very smart guy, and I'm a very good storyteller, and I'm a very good speaker, generally speaking. And I've got my moments, my ups and downs, just like anyone else. Matter of fact, if you're not out there making mistakes, you're not trying hard enough. Because the only way to learn is to make mistakes. I have a whole lifetime experience that proves that. But I knew I could do that. I've got a good storytelling ability. I have lots of, I'm a big science fiction fan. That's why the first bestseller I have is a science fiction book, Pilot Prison, and I've got a lot of others in the works. But I need to sell these and get these out there and gain the popularity to support me while I work on those others. Point being, words are free. You can put them together and you can sell them and you can make money. This is just the business plan thought I had in my mind. I had not planned to make this book. I worked for Trump. Pilot Prison I had already written out in detail and just needed to type up. That was the first one I did. I did that pen and paper. This I did on the computer. The next one I'm doing through voice recognition software. So I'm trying different things. This book I wrote in 22 days after Donald's announcement to run for president. Because not only did I want to talk about briefly in here the experience I had worked with Donald and know him, and you know, I'm not saying we hung out and drank beer together all the time and we're best buddies and you know that he calls me every day to see how I'm doing. Although Donald, if you watch this, it would be nice to hear from you. I doubt that's going to happen. I mean, come on, the whole world's loving the guy. Well, half the world. But those of you who have ever worked or known anybody famous, they're just a regular person who has a lot of fame. And I may qualify in some aspects, I already qualify for that because I do have thousands of fans all over the world. And this is also for you. And I want to thank you again for your love and support. But Donald's pretty, you know, he's an awesome guy. You either love him or hate him. Obviously, we got lots of examples of that. But he was just trying. He's just doing the best he can. And he's successful. When I put this first book together, Pilot Prison, I'll tell you who I copied then. And I don't mean copied as in plagiarized, I mean copied as in success. One of the things that's in here doesn't have anything to do with the words or story, it has to do with the way it's presented. I loved reading and read much of James Patterson's books. And one of the things in his style is he has short chapters. Very short, sometimes one page. And I love the Alex Cross series, for example. So I copied that. In here, you will see, I wonder if I picked the right one. There you go. Chapter 9, 1 page. Chapter 10, page and a half. That's a formula. It's a successful formula because how many of us who read know the experience of sitting there reading and reading and we get in the middle of a chapter and we're ready to go to sleep but we want to finish the chapter, so it becomes this problem: do I finish reading or do I go to sleep? I want to finish the chapter but my body's saying time to go night-night. So that's one of the things I tried to carry over, and I will carry over in all my books, because it's just a successful formula. You copy success. Donald Trump is successful. Come on, he's got his name all over everything, and even if he had it all handed to him with a silver spoon, he could have lost it all and been homeless and in a van just like I was when I had personal mistakes, tragedies, and things happen. Everyone has had their ups and downs. I had a pastor one time who said something about, how people, when they don't have money and then they become famous, they become a basketball star or a musician or whatever, and then they got lots of money and their problems become huge and they're in tabloids. And the pastor said, they had the problems before they had the money. The money just made it bigger and more obvious. And that's true. Well, he had the success, perhaps in the beginning, but he could have lost it all. But he made it more successful. And before he became president, he was honored for, I forget which famous black leader, for his hiring minorities and such. I have a lot of things in here about Donald, but there's also a lot of things in here about me. Again, this is a political and autobiographical book about the fact that I have opinions. I'm just like many of you. You guys out there who are looking at this right now, you could do the same thing I did. And I encourage you to. I'm not afraid of competition. As a matter of fact, it's a good thing because, again, like I said earlier, we have so many old, repeated stories over and over again. This is to honor Donald, but it's also to talk about the mess I made out of my life, the mistakes I've made, and the things I've seen. Because one problem I have with all these brilliant, rich, suit and tie types who speak, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to me babble on about things," and sound so smart and condescending. The problem with a lot of those people is many of them have not been through the bottom, the hard times, the low caste of society end of things. They have not suffered like you and I have. They have not had to make the decision of where does the money go and what do I do without. A lot of them have not done without. And that's a hard thing that gets frustrating for us regular folk who, when we listen and look at these people, we kind of tune them out. And maybe some of you are going to tune me out, maybe not, I hope not, but the basic facts, I'm just trying to talk to you. Because reality is, if you don't like me, you're not going to like me or my books. But if you like me and you see that I'm a real, regular person, and you find out that I have similar thoughts and opinions to you, maybe some of them you agree with, maybe you don't, but at least I'm here putting it to you and trying. If you like me, you'll buy my books, because anybody who's done sales, you're not selling the product, you're not selling the widget, you're selling yourself. If you go to buy something, if you don't like that guy, if you go to buy a car and that salesman is an obnoxious POS, you're going to go to the next dealership because you can get that thing somewhere else. And this guy killed his own sale because he was just trying to sell you. Well, yes, I want to sell you. I want you to go right now. If you're all robots, any of you robots out there, please go right now to Amazon. Type in my first and last name, Kevin Rissmiller. Find these books and buy them. They're offered, by the way, in both this kind of, paper and dead trees and ink that gets put in a box and we pay the guy to drive the truck and all that. It's this, or it's an ebook format. As a matter of fact, this one, the one I'm talking about today, I have for 99 cents. It's an ebook, 99 cents. You can download it. No paper, no guy in the truck. There's no big cost involved. It's a Donald Trump book. Yes, it's about me too. But we are all under his guise as citizens of the United States. And those of you in other countries, who I know I have fans all the way around to the other side of the planet in the Philippines and all points between. And shout out to the Philippines, because I have a lot of fans in the Philippines, because they are one of the largest English-speaking populations outside of the United States. So I have put them and focused on them as a market. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm asking you, if you have the ability and you want to, this is not my best work ever, but it's not bad. And if you want to learn more about me, and especially the dark side, I put that in here. And I have other books coming up that I'm working on. And I'll briefly speak about those, because one of them is very serious and very important. Well, actually, it's not just one. There's at least a trilogy of books about something that happened to me. And part of what made me a dark, ugly person for a very long time. It's a book. The first book is called Our Father Who Art a Molester, How Monsters Reproduce, about how I, as an 11-year-old child, was raped by a Roman Catholic priest. And that will mess with your mind, ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you, because it definitely affects your ability to trust authority figures for the rest of your life. And it also affects your ability to have faith in God when the guy who's supposed to represent God and his people does something like that to a little boy. Yeah, that's going to hurt. That's going to make some and without going into too many details, I'll do another video about that. It also affects your sexuality, because I am a heterosexual, and when a homosexual attacks you like that, when I hit puberty, I became very inappropriate with ladies. I basically tried to be with every female that would be willing to be with me, because I was trying to reprove my masculinity and prove that that was who I was instead of what happened with me. That's just a brief overlay. There's two more. There's a Christian book I'm putting together because I have restored my faith. Amen. I have a Rissmiller Ministries group on Facebook, and that one's called God Showed Up, and I've been working on that one for a long time. I should have done that one first and wanted to do that one first, but all boats rise with the tide, so I was wanting to do a few other books first, so that when that one comes out, because I believe How Monsters Reproduce and God Showed Up, when those come out, they're going to be large. They're going to be big sellers, I'm sure. And my other books will sell more because people will want to read more of what I have to produce. Because I have all different types of books I'd like to publish. I won't go through the whole list because I'm already running longer than I'd like to on this video. But I want to share with you. I want to talk to you. I want to tell you about what it is this author, this man who sits in front of a keyboard or a microphone or a video device, because right now I have a tablet, a phone, and a laptop, 4 different devices right now recording me. Because I want you to have an opportunity to get to know who I am. And this book helps with that, because this has a lot about me in it. And a lot about everything from being in the lowest caste of society with crack whores, crack dealers, doing drugs, alcohol, sex. And it also has personal stories and personal, some of it's funny even. I've had 5-star ratings on Amazon from what I call super fans, and it hurt really a lot when I found out one of my super fans passed away in mid-February. And I love you guys. Some of you fans are amazing and awesome, and you've been trust me when I say you've kept me from falling on a knife a few times, because you know it gets depressing. I live alone. I'm by myself. I moved out into the middle of nowhere here, so I could have the solitude I need to focus and concentrate on marketing my books and writing my books and putting it out there. And as part of the marketing, again, shameless plug, go to Amazon. I'm using my mind control. Ooh, I'm focusing hard, putting it in your brain. Go to Amazon.com, put in Kevin Rissmiller. Kevin, K-E-V-I-N, Riss like piss, Miller like the beard. Might as well use what the kids teased me with when I was in school. Rissmiller, Riss, R-I-S-S, Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R, Rissmiller. Type those into the search box. These will pop up. These are the only ones I got on there at this moment of this broadcast. And buy them. Read them. If you love them, tell everybody. If you hate them, just tell me. I don't want everybody to, I'm just kidding. I want opinions, good and bad, because not everybody's going to like it. A lot of people have. Some people haven't. And that's normal. That's just normal stuff. But I wanted to relate to you all. I wanted to talk to everyone out there. I wanted to tell you about this book, because I have not done anything specifically directed at this book. As a matter of fact, I need to read this book again to refresh all of the things I put in there, because when I was talking to Freddie, who was my superfan who passed away, she would mention things, and I was like, I don't remember telling you that. She says it was in your book. I put that in there? I forgot. Oh, because I spent 22 days bounding this thing out. And again, I was homeless at the time. I'm going to read this. One of the videos that will be coming out soon is I'm going to start reading this book to you. In what I call, well, you have audiobooks. I'm putting together video books where I sit down and read my book to you. So that, And that's for people who just really don't read books. But if you like the story, maybe you'll tell the people who do read books, or maybe you'll buy it for a gift for somebody you know. So, getting back on point, the book I Worked for Trump is about President Donald Trump and about its author, me, Kevin Rissmiller. I probably should have put a script together. I know I rambled all over the place here today. I'm trying to share with everyone things that I've thought about for a long time, give you a chance to get to know me. If you're a dentist out there and want to fix these teeth, great. I hope you like the shirt. Oh, I should have buttoned it more. Oh, too late now. Anyway, look, everybody, I love y'all. You're my fans and my customers and my friends out there. You're my family. You're who matters. You're who support me. And I need to let you know how much I appreciate you. And even my haters I appreciate, because sometimes they can keep you grounded. When you do something screwed up, like yesterday's video where I thought my feet were going to be out of the picture, but they snuck in, so I had a lot of people say, "Put some damn shoes on!" And I should have, but I didn't think they were going to be seen, so I was worried about the presentation. And if you're wondering what's on below, I'm going to just keep letting you wonder, just as a kind of a joke. Ooh, I should have. Well, anyway. I look forward to hearing from everyone. I really do. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I haven't told you a whole lot about the book because I still want to tell it. How about I just read the back of it to you before I close? I Work for Trump is an honest, hot, and steamy autobiographical book of sex, drugs, crime, and politics as told by the author and man who worked for Donald J. Trump, Kevin Rissmiller. Favorite passage from this book? On page 89. I am fairly certain on that day, had Satan showed up with the Antichrist on a fiery craft, shooting lightning bolts from his eyes and scrotum, while magically levitating all the virgins to the vehicle in the gathering crowd below, all two of them, while announcing he is now ruler of the world, it still would have been the follow-up story to the Taco Bowl tweet. Now, for those of you who don't remember, on Cinco de Mayo, President Trump ate a taco bowl, and the news went nuts over it. It was insane, the amount of coverage and the craziness. And anybody today who's alive and who watched TV for more than 10 minutes during the news knows that everything is nuts about Trump. Either they're hating him or they're loving him. There seems to be no middle road. We need to all come together in the middle and reunite as the United States and stop all this crazy violent stuff. Maxine Waters, shut up. I mean, no offense, but you don't harass people and their family and their children. You don't threaten. And Peter Fonda, oh my God, what were you thinking? To threaten the son of the president, a little boy, putting him in a cage full of pedophiles? Are you serious? Where does that even make sense? And his movie's coming out, and oh my God, it gets me so aggravated to think Roseanne made an unforgivable statement, lost everything. But she didn't threaten a child. She didn't threaten. This is just out of control. It's insane. And what I don't understand is why the people who are supposed to be these, you know, the blue states, you get the most social programs. And they're supposed to be all about the people. But they give up the truth when they start being all about the votes instead of about the people. And when people on their team say that. Now, I understand there's extremists on both sides. And I could ask for apologies and forgiveness all day for the people on the other side of the fence who say dumb things. And they're using now, and this is one thing I don't like, when I've seen just recent broadcasts, that, well, President Trump said he'd pay the legal fees of anybody who punched somebody who was protesting in his political convention. First of all, he said he said what he said, and it's wrong, but it's right, because it's his convention, it's his political, people coming in there trying to disturb it. He's just saying, he wasn't even necessarily mean, well, maybe he did mean it, but even if he did, this is an enclosed environment of adults, and they are equating somebody talking about child rape with a protester getting a nosebleed, there's no equal sign between those two things to me. That's my opinion. And Maxine Waters and the Red Hen owner harassing the press secretary. She's doing her job. She's a woman. And the things that they don't talk about is she left peacefully, quietly, just like she sat with respect when that comedian was ripping her in the White House press dinner. She's handled herself with more decorum than I would. I would have not been so cool. But when she left the restaurant, her family, she stayed home. Her family went to a restaurant across the street, and they went and harassed her family, who's not even working for the president. That's just her family. That's nuts. That's where you got to really worry about where we're going. That's not American. American is, we can agree to disagree. We can not like what the other people are saying, but you don't threaten. You don't put violence or even harassment against. At work is one thing. I mean, if you work for one sports team and you go home and your neighbor's a fan of another team, you might have a little playful kidding, but you don't harass and threaten and, well, then again, yes, we do know of crazy neighbor stories, and I'm sure you've seen some online, but we don't look at those and think they're normal. We think that's wacky, right? Okay, I'm going on too long here. Of course, because I love to talk, I get picked on that one too. I hope I've covered enough. Again, I've tried to just give you a little bit of a piece of me and my life and personal information. I've tried to talk to you about honest things. I hope I have covered enough. I'm going to ask you, please send me comments on Messenger or comment on my Facebook page on this video, wherever it's posted, because it's going to be on YouTube and 2 different Facebook accounts and all my Facebook pages and Facebook groups. For those of you who don't know, I have a group of fans and friends. I have a group for my Pilot Prison book called Friends and Avatars of Pilot Prison Fans and Friends. I don't have it. Obviously, I'm not trying to hardcore pitch you here, but I'm just telling you. Plus, I got pages. I got pages for the Trump book, pages for the Pilot Prison book, pages for Rissmiller Media. For me, those are just pages as opposed to groups. And I try to keep everything update, and I try to share all good posts with everyone. And it gives you a lot of places to communicate to me and with me, and I try to get it all. Sometimes I get slammed, and I have trouble keeping up with it. And Facebook, I'm going to try to refrain from going on about the things and disagreements I have with them. Because right now, I believe right now, again, I am back in what they call Facebook jail. Because I support the president, I often wind up getting put in Facebook jail for what I call arbitrary and capricious reasons. And for those of you who are not sure of those words, I'm going to spare you looking them up. It's basically they pick and choose who they feel like picking on, and they do like to pick and choose on me, because I do support the guy I used to work for, the guy who I wrote this book about, Donald Trump. And guess what? I support the guy who's in the office of the president, even when it's not somebody I necessarily agree with, because he is the president of this country. He is the president of the United States. Even when I don't agree with his politics or anything, we have a system of government where we may not agree with the politics or beliefs, but we are all united as one, which is what makes us strong. And when people try to tear that down and tear that apart, that takes away from us. We're not hurting anybody else but ourselves. And I don't want hurt or pain for anyone. I want love, happiness, and I want you all to have a beautiful and blessed life. And basically, I just love you guys. And I appreciate you. And I hope you love and appreciate me, and share that love and appreciation with me, because I would really enjoy seeing it. And it helps to motivate me. It's the fuel that goes into my engines and keeps me going. I'm coming up on 45 minutes on this video, and I was only planning on doing 20, so I obviously have gone way over than my intention, but I'm going to end this here because it's obviously very long. And I will do more, I promise. And I'm going to change shirts and look like I'm fresh and new, and it might even just be 5 minutes from now I do the next one. Well, it's going to be longer than that because the upload takes a while on the other videos. And I appreciate everyone. I thank you all. Again, please go buy my books. Pilot Prison, I Worked for Trump, at Amazon. I exclusively sell these on Amazon worldwide. I am known internationally. I have fans all over the world. Thank you to all of you fans, and to you new fans who hopefully maybe see this video today and because of it now are becoming one of my newest fans. And God bless you all, and good luck with your lives. And if I can do anything, I want to encourage you to do the best you can. Don't follow your dreams, become your dreams. Tenacity, which means to keep going even though things keep trying to stop you, and no matter what, keep coming against you. Tenacity is most important. Give it your all. Work hard, do hard, and go hard, because life's hard, and anything worth doing is worth doing well. And I'll even quote Spider-Man, I think this was, how is it put? With great... Basically, I'm going to rephrase it. I'm going to say, without great risk, there can be no great reward. So take that risk. Follow what you want to do. Don't feel stuck somewhere. Don't let anybody abuse you or take advantage of you. Do good. Do right. And we all need to stick together, because we are more powerful as a country. We're more powerful as a people, as a family, as a community. We can agree to disagree, but we need to do things together with love and kindness. Even when we have disagreements of opinions of things, we can still work together and achieve great things as a nation, as a people, as a community, as a family. And as my group of fans, I thank you once again. Signing off, I'm going to take a moment, so some of you are going to get to see me pressing buttons as I stop recordings here. But thank you for listening. Please pose your questions so I can learn what you think and what I screwed up in this video, or what I didn't finish talking about and started talking about, so I can address it in some of the next ones. God bless you all, and have a good day. And here comes the punch in here.